Welcome to this episode of the Sports Detective Podcast Show. My name is James Williams, and today is Giannis Antetokounmpo a underachiever? What are we talking about? Well, last week on First Take, the Friday morning before a pivotal Game 4 in the NBA Finals, First Take thought it would be a good idea to talk about Giannis's legacy in the NBA. And Molly set up a prompt for everyone at the round table there on First Take. And make no mistake about it, the reason she set up the prompt was because Stephen A already had this thing locked and loaded. This wasn't something that was happenstance or an unintended consequence of his just gut reaction take. No. This was all planned. And Molly said, hey, what's one word that you would describe Giannis if he ended his career with only one championship? And Stephen A said, oh, I'd call him an underachiever, which is absolutely ridiculous. Every single ceiling that we've had for Giannis and set for Giannis throughout his career, he has just punched straight through it. If anything, if there was one word that you would use to describe his entire career as a whole, it would be probably overachiever with how great he has been for his entire career, where he was drafted and where we thought he might be one day to be a two-time MVP, NBA championship. You guys know the whole spiel with Giannis and how great he is. So Stephen A got dragged through the mud for that all day online. And this led Jay Williams, my name doppelganger, to come on First Take Monday and to address Stephen A's Giannis take. And he absolutely hands Stephen A his ass on a silver platter. Let's go ahead and watch Jay here, and then we will discuss afterwards.
I had to, like I'm the little brother that has is filled with the venom sometimes when you and I go at each other, and it's all love because it's always love. But I think we really need to do a better job of reframing some of these conversations, right? And if you were to say that the franchise, the Milwaukee Bucks, have underachieved or are the biggest underachievers with the talent of Giannis, fair. But a guy who has a 50-point closeout game, a guy who's never chased any of these dream team scenarios, a guy who's a finals MVP, a guy who's a multi-time all-star, all NBA, all everything, global face of the game. The fact that he brought an NBA championship to Milwaukee in the midst of the fire that he did, to call him an underachiever, I just think is an asinine comment. Because then if we go through history, we're calling a lot of these other great players who have won one NBA championship, which, by the way, you know how hard it is to win a championship? It's one of the hardest. It's like, okay, my college career, I'm an underachiever because my freshman and my junior year, we lost to Florida in the Sweet 16 and we lost to Indiana in the Sweet 16. And both of them went on to lose in a national championship game, but I got one my sophomore year. So I'm an underachiever because I should have more. So you're calling Allen Iverson an underachiever. You're calling Dirk an underachiever. You're calling KG an underachiever. You just called Oscar Robertson an underachiever because they've all got one championship.
Jay Williams there probably did 80% of the response I had. To his point, if you're going to call Giannis an underachiever in his career, it's not necessarily just the one championships thing. You could go through and you could do the zero championships guys and call all of them underachievers. For example, you could call guys like Charles Barkley an underachiever. This is a guy that, had weight problems throughout his entire career, had fitness problems his entire career, won an MVP, took his team to the finals, but only actually didn't even win an NBA championship, obviously. You could call Shaq an underachiever because of the fact, Kobe Bryant said this before he passed away. I think he said it on Kimmel's show, I believe, where I think they said, hey, if Shaq had your drive, your work ethic, what would his career be like? And I think Kobe said he'd be the GOAT. So you could call Shaq an underachiever because there was a lot of points in his career where he didn't take things as seriously. So to call all of those guys and to just not go back and talk about all of those guys and all of their faults and all of the things that they did wrong in their careers, you talk about Giannis, a guy that has probably squeezed out every bit of juice of talent that he has. Like he is kind of the prototypical Kobe Bryant type of person. He is working his butt off. I mean, you could just see it in his physique, how much he is working his butt off in the offseason. And the typical superstar that Stephen A says that he desires and that he wants on paper is this guy that's all tough. He doesn't make friends with other people, bro. He's not, going out there and doing off-season workouts with LeBron and Kevin Durant, and they're all playing patty cakes, and they're all holding hands around the campfire and singing Kumbaya. Giannis is working out with his brothers. Giannis has beefs with other players in the NBA. You see all this stuff that we were talking about in the Pacers series and all the stuff that was going on there. Stephen A had a whole rant earlier this year. It's like, oh, the reason that the NBA, no one likes the NBA today, bro, is because everyone's just sitting around and holding hands and everyone's best friends and everyone, they're just not competing that hard against each other because they're all friends and they don't want to be too rough on all their friends. Giannis is not that guy. Giannis is the type of superstar that Stephen A says that he is salivating for. So that begs the question, guys. Why doesn't Stephen A talk about Charles Barkley or talk about a Shaq or even talk about, other older players and retroactively look back at their careers and call all of them underachievers and nitpick all of their careers and all of their faults or all of their shortcomings? Why doesn't he do that? Let's just talk about specifically with Shaq and Charles Barkley, because those are actually pretty easy guys that you can go back and you can nitpick. Because he likes them, they talk to him, or he wants them to like to him and he wants them to talk to him. That's it. It's that simple. It is that simple with Stephen A. Nick Wright, I'm not the biggest Nick Wright guy, but I think he brilliantly pointed this out a few months ago when Stephen A was having this whole beef with LeBron, which I think was like, people were acting like this was like some sort of like Kendrick Drake thing. It's like LeBron literally had a 10-second interaction with him on a basketball court, and then he talked about him for like 55 seconds on a Pat McAfee show, and then Stephen A turned that into like 14 hours of like content of him screaming about it. But Nick Wright said like, hey, dude, the reason that he's doesn't like LeBron, he's having these takes about LeBron and why he likes LeBron and not Jordan, is because Jordan texts him. Stephen A even admitted that recently where Michael Jordan's doing the NBC stuff. He's like, yeah, man, I was telling MJ to go out and do media, bro. That was me. And it's like that's why you coddle Jordan's balls and you suck them and you gargle them, is because Michael Jordan texts you and you like Michael Jordan and you respect these old guys. You respect Magic Johnson, right? These other guys that have kind of turned on you, and maybe you could say it's their fault. You could say it's Stephen A's fault, yada, yada, yada. I don't want to relitigate all this stuff. But the reason you're going out and you're bashing all these guys all the time is because like they don't talk to you anymore, or they talk to you at one point and then they don't now. Like Stephen A, guys, make no mistake about it. He had the fast track for the LeBron to Miami thing before anyone else did. He did that because he's tight with those guys, because he's good with relationships. He don't have those relationships anymore. Like he's tight with I think he even had it for Kevin Durant in Golden State too. He used to be tight with KD. He's not as much anymore. So why wouldn't he go back and criticize Charles Barkley? Like, guys, if Stephen A every single week on his podcast or First Take went back and relitigated Shaquille O'Neal's career and called him fat and told him that he didn't work hard enough and that he let Kobe Bryant down with his part in that whole divorce that they had, and that he, underachieved in his career, which again is not a crazy take. It's probably true. Even though Shaq, with all the accomplishments that Shaq had in his career, he probably could have taken his career more seriously and had even more accomplishments. If he did all of that stuff, guys, do you think Shaq would be interrupting the ESPN broadcast during the finals and being like, hey, Stephen A, bro? And it becomes this fun little cutesy, like little internet clip that we get passed around a million times? No. Shaq would hate that dude. You guys think that the TNT dudes criticize ESPN enough now? If every single week we were going back and relitigating these guys' career and talking about them in the way that we do some of these guys today, woo! We'd be seeing fists fly, bro. We'd be seeing fists fly. We would be seeing bloodshed. Maybe not literally, but probably, through the tachosphere. So just to call Giannis an underachiever, this is just trying to get clicks. It's cheap. If Giannis was Stephen A's boy, he wouldn't dare say anything like this. Like, he's even, I think, tight with guys like Carmelo Anthony, who also was a guy that had work ethic issues. Would you call Carmelo Anthony an underachiever? He's really tight with Allen Iverson. The guys, you look at Allen Iverson's career, by the time he hits 30, it's done. It's over. And that's because Allen Iverson was like a big-time partier who had a lot of demons in his life. Go ahead and read about that stuff if you don't believe me on that. Would he dare call Allen Iverson an underachiever? Like Jay pointed out there? No, he wouldn't. It's just kind of sad, man. Stephen A's changed. He's changed. I don't know if I blame him for everything, starting all of these beasts with all these stars. I don't think it's 100% his fault in every single scenario, but this dude's changed. He's changed over the last few years, and I don't blame him. The money, the power, the notoriety. Make no mistake about it, when you see him getting videoed through the tunnel in a player intro for the finals, like every other NBA player, it's like, yo, looks, Tyrese Halliburton showing up to the game and his swag, or SGA showing up in the game and look at this outfit. They do that same stuff with Stephen A now. Make no mistake about it. That's written into his contract. That is written into his contract for that to happen. Because he could easily be like, hey, no, I want discretion, and like I don't want ESPN to be broadcasting my entrances. He could do that, and then maybe you'd have some, like weirdo from like OKC or Indiana that would like maybe videotape him, and then that's how you'd see him walk in. But no, when ESPN broadcasts that, they're doing that because it's in his contract. Because he wants that. He wants the attention. I don't think I have anything else to say. I think I made all my points. All right. That's going to do it for this show here today. Sorry I haven't been posting any videos over the past 2 weeks. I have this throat issue. I still have it. Basically, the back of my throat's kind of sore. I got some medication I'm working on. I'm drinking water, cough drops, gargling salt water, trying to get better. Hopefully we'll get better. I've got it enough now where I can talk and monologue like this. So if you like this video, like, subscribe, leave a comment what you think. Would love to hear you guys' feedback, and feel free to be checking out other videos on this channel, because we're going to be trying to post throughout the dog days of summer, the dog days of sports talk media. I'm going to be trying to post one a day. I'm going to be trying to. Now that I'm feeling a little bit better, we're going to be trying to do more interviews, preparing for football season, talking about NBA offseason stuff. So please subscribe. Thank you.